Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. If you have not seen already, I uploaded an analysis on Hydreigon, and yes, I am bringing back the individual analysis series that I started a while ago. So if you want to learn about Hydreigon and all of its uses in VGC 2015, go check that out. I'll link that in the description below. In addition, if you have not seen the latest episode of Team Review Thursday, which went up of course 2 days ago, check that out as well. Lots of new additional content coming out to the channel. We're just going to jump back onto the ladder with the Mega Salamence Clefairy team that Lightcore gratefully allowed us to use this week. Been a super fantastic week. I think we've had some of the best games, really might be the best week in my opinion of Road to Rank, just in terms of quality of matches, as we find Kylie once again from New Jersey with a rating of 1882. Some of you guys may remember Kylie. We actually faced her very recently with, I believe it was last week's team. But in that one, I think Rockslide double missed, and ultimately we lost that one. Looks like she is rocking the Rain team once again. Of course, this is Paul Chua's little sister. Played at the World Championships last year in the seniors division. Very accomplished player in her division, and Paul's definitely trained her very well. So, Kylie here has a team of Politoed, Kingdra, Ludicolo, Thundurus, Kangaskhan, and Ferrothorn. So, I think it's hilarious given how many Rain teams we featured on Road to Rank this week, and we have yet another one. And it's definitely not a fantastic matchup. I think I'm going to try to rely on Clefairy to spread some paralysis here for sure. I do like that. Clefairy and Salamence actually makes sense as a lead for me here. But I kind of want to go like Clefairy, Thundurus, but I think the Intimidate immediately can be really good. And then I'm just going to go Scrafty, Thundurus in the back. So, you know, I get the Intimidates, which can really help out against Kangaskhan immediately, if Kylie decides to lead with it. I also got Scrafty in the back, so I can reshuffle those Intimidates. And, you know, Intimidates are really huge against physical type attackers, and I also need a good way to beat that Ferrothorn that Kylie might have in the back. So, this is a pretty safe lead matchup against Rain typically, as she's going to lead just with Politoed and Ludicolo, which is actually fine by me. So, Drizzle activates before Intimidate. That confirms the Choice Scarf Politoed. Not much of a surprise there. So I get the Intimidate off. That one obviously doesn't really matter. I think this first turn I'm just going to go straight for the double Protect, because I want to see what move she locks herself into with Politoed. And I'm going to Mega Evolve. Presumably, she might actually pull out a switch here if she wants. Maybe into something like Kangaskhan, which would actually be smart because it would allow her to get a Fake Out off with Kangaskhan consequently. But we'll see what she goes. I do have the Scrafty in the back, which could always be a pretty safe switch in now. Now, unfortunately, you know, Follow Me is a fantastic move, but it doesn't divert fake outs because Ludicolo would actually be able to outspeed. So the move Kylie could make is just like a fake out and Ice Beam into Salamence, which is why I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to double protect this first turn to avoid any damage for both of my Pokemon. See what the Scarf Toad locks herself into, though could also be Timid Max Speed Toad. As Ludicolo goes for the Scald onto Clefairy, and she does go for the double Scald. So expecting to Follow Me, a good play there on her end. Now, let's see. So Poly locked itself into Scald, but I'm still vulnerable to an Ice Beam from Ludi. So I'm just going to go for the safe Follow Me and return play onto Ludicolo. If I can knock Ludicolo out, it's a huge threat out of the way, and Scarf Thunder C comes in and can knock out Politoed. So I'm just going to go for the redirection. Looks like she's just going to go for the Scald, so playing it smartly there, as it brings me under 50%. Double Scald does come out. The nice thing here, though, is even if I get knocked out, which I do, so that was a very good play, and I could have went for potential Thunder Wave, but at this rate I just really wanted to knock out the Ludicolo. So Ludicolo is going to go down till a return here, and it's going to be even 3-3 right now, but the Politoed, of course, is locked into the Scald. I can switch in Thundurus or Scrafty here, but I think she might want to actually bring in her Kangaskhan. Because of that, I think I want to switch in Scrafty here so I can get the Intimidate off, and I am going to go for that, I think. Looks like it's actually going to be Kingdra coming out, though. That is not a good last Pokemon to see. So she went full Rain this time, and I probably should have anticipated that. I mean, I could go for the Fake Out return play onto Kingdra, but that's kind of predictable. Politoed's not doing much here. So if I do get the Fake Out return onto Kingdra and she somehow goes for the attack, then that would be a huge advantage for me, just because if Kingdra were to go down, then I do have a good shot at winning this, but right now Kingdra's just a huge threat. Could also Drain Punch Politoed. She might want to switch into Kangaskhan. Could also Fake Out Dragon Dance. I really want to Fake Out return Kingdra, but I think the safest play for her here is to switch Politoed out into her last one, which is presumably Kangaskhan, and protect with Kingdra. So because of that, I also kind of want to double up onto Politoed. with a Drain Punch and a return. You know what, I've got to make big plays to come back into this one. She does switch it out. Does Kingdra protect here, though? It's going to come down to that. If she does, then I feel pretty confident of winning this, but let's see. Yes, she does. So we nailed that prediction. That's exactly the move I needed to get back into this game. And now I feel quite confident, especially with a Scarf Thunderous in the back. So, wow. Huge turn for me there. Could have gone two completely different ways, but I made the read, and it did work out. You know, it's because I knew Politoed with Scarf probably doesn't really want to stay in at this rate. It's not doing very much. So she's going to be switching Politoed back in, which is fine. Now, let's see. I think I'm going to go for a Snarl this time around. Do I want to protect with Salamence? I could just go straight for the attack here. I really want to just return Kingdra. But I'm going to go for the safe protect, because after the Snarl, since this... Oh, Kylie actually just forfeits there. Okay, I don't think that was a game she should have forfeited just yet, especially since she didn't see my last Pokeball, but I guess she realized after that Kangaskhan went down that it was just a huge momentum swing for me. I do think with Scarf Thunderous I could have taken that match, but with a burn or crits here and there, I think she had a shot. The main thing is, if the Kingdra wanted to knock out the Salamence, she would have had to go for a Dragon-type attack, most likely Draco Meteor, and once that went down, you know, she wouldn't have a great way to beat the Thunderous, but I still feel like at that point in the game, she should have continued to fight it out. But we're going to jump back onto the ladder. That puts us actually over 1850s, which is awesome because she did have quite the high rating, so we'll see if we can continue it and seal up today with a second win. Since it's really been back and forth with the wins and losses, you know, I think we've also played like the most number of rain teams this week on Road to Rank, which is kind of funny. But you know, I think that's a statement to the metagame and where it is right now. Rain is a very popular strategy, and we haven't lost to a rain team, I believe, yet, which is pretty cool, despite the fact that this team doesn't actually have like the best way to beat rain. Because normally when you want to beat rain, you want really good speed control, like Prankster Thunderous with Thunder Wave or Trick Room, and then a weather user of yourself like Charizard Wire, Tyranitar, or even Abomasnow. Especially when you have Heatran and Excadrill, those are not two Pokemon you want to bring in a rain matchup. But it just so happened that there were games that I actually brought it against rain, and it did work out. So a lot of it comes down to team preview and predicting what your opponent's going to bring. I wasn't really anticipating Kylie bringing both her or all the rain, Polyludi, and Kingdra. I thought Thunderous and Ferrothorn could have caused huge issues, but basically the prediction onto Kangaskhan was huge, picking up that knockout. I really do think if I faked out and returned the Kingdra there, it would have been game over for me, because Kangaskhan would be able to come in for free, and it would have been very, very difficult to win. But I think that just goes to show how sometimes you really need to make those big predictions, and if they pay off, it can be a win. If they don't pay off, it could be a loss, but I mean, that's VGC for you. As I always say, that's Pokemon for you, that's also VGC for you. So, we're just going to look for our second game of the day right now. Taking a while, but, you know, I think this is... I mean, we've just had really good opponents throughout this week. As I do Road to Ranked, I mean, that's as good as it gets. Wow, we actually couldn't find anybody, so let's try again. But that first game was shorter, so it's alright. But yeah, I mean, I think... for me, you know, being on Road to Rank, the whole idea is to feature these high-quality VGC matches. So throughout the week, I think we've had some really great games. And once again, huge thank you to Lycor VGC for allowing me to even use this team, because it's a fantastic team. I think he'll actually be posting analysis of it on Nugget Bridge very soon. So if you guys are interested in his EV spreads, I'm not going to reveal them since I respect his privacy, but I'm going to allow him to post that article and you guys can see. Find Kuroran from the US with a rating of 1819 immediately. So two 1800 plus rated opponents today with a pretty cool team of Gardevoir, Suicune, Heatran, Hydreigon, Thunderous Incarnate, and Landorus. So I was kind of expecting another rain team after playing so many rain teams, but finally a change of pace here. Quite the solid team in my opinion. Let's see, I think fairy types are always kind of scary to deal with in general. Suicune is also scary. Kind of actually want to lead with Thunderous. But I'm trying to think. Excadrill can be kind of solid too. Maybe something like Thunderous Excadrill? I'm fond of that. Let's see. I think I'm probably not going to want to bring Heatran here. It's just not very... I mean, it's actually decent, but I don't know. Just Earthquake, Earth Power from Hydreigon, Suicune there as well. But the Fairy matchup here is slightly problematic, which is what I'm concerned about mainly. Gardevoir is definitely the biggest threat. I'm going to want to try to knock that out before anything else. I actually really like Thunderous and Excadrill here as a lead, especially with the Sash on Excadrill. Like, I kind of put on pressure against all his Pokemon. I'm leaning towards Salamence in the back, maybe Scraf, maybe Heatran is the last one, actually. I mean, Clefairy can be decent here, but I feel like my opponent's not going to want to bring Hydreigon because of my Clefairy. Hydreigon's also not the best call with my, you know, redirection from Clefairy. So it's really between Scrafty and Heatran. Now, Heatran does give me a better matchup against his Gardevoir, But Scrafty, I mean, Intimidate's nice, Fake Out's nice. I feel like Fake Out Pressure can help out a lot. So you know what? I'm going to bring Scrafty. Heatran can't do very much against an Assault Vest Scrafty either way. I can get knockoffs off against all his special type attackers, you know, Heatran, Thundurus, Hydreigon, and Suicune. So Scrafty gives me a decent amount of options since 5 of the 6 Pokemon, or Scrafty gives me a good amount of options since 5 of the 6 Pokemon he has are special type attackers, Landorus being the last one. I don't know how fast or what item his Landorus has, but maybe my Thundurus he can actually just outspeed and KO with the HP Ice. Even if he can't, I'm not sure if he's expecting the Scarf as he times out there, maybe? Question mark? We'll see. Yeah, timer is a pretty scary aspect of VGC because a lot of the times it just goes by without you realizing it, and then you're struggling to get your moves in those last seconds. I've actually timed out a bunch of VGC events, so that's one thing that I think players should actually practice for, making sure you don't time out, because one turn and everything can just go downhill. But first time leading Thundurus T and Excadrill, so newer lead here, against Suicune and Gardevoir. That's actually quite a good lead matchup for me, I'd say. Obviously because I have super effective attacks right away. Mold Breaker obviously coming out here. He traces Volt Absorb. That's actually problematic for me. But I'm faster than both, which is good news. Now the question is, oh wow, tracing Volt Absorb. That's certainly something. So I could go straight for the EQ and the Thunderbolt onto Suicune, which would knock it out. I'm just wondering if he has Protect, because then he can maybe potentially set up Trick Room. I also have Iron Head onto Excadrill, but if he's Mega Gardevoir, which you'd assume he is, I can't just pick up a knockout immediately. He might like stay in normal Gardevoir form. So I could go Grass Knot. I'm really tempted to double on Gardevoir, but the thing is, I don't know if this is Trick Room or Tailwind right now, because I mean, I would assume Tailwind, but it can really go both ways, and that's what's really bothering me right now. You know what, I'm just gonna go for the Thunderbolt onto Suicune. Actually, he might switch out into something like Landorus T. Do I want to HP Ice it? I feel like that switch makes a lot of sense. You know what, I'm gonna go for the HP Ice and the Iron Head onto Gardevoir, yeah. Oh, but he goes... Oh, nicely done. So he goes for the Ally Switch, doesn't Mega Evolve, so I was completely not expecting that. If I went for... I mean, that actually... It works out alright in the sense that I get more damage than I probably would have. I mean, Volt Absorb obviously just wouldn't have affected it. But I actually get the flinch onto Suicune, which is very fortunate. So, lucky turn 1 there for me, as I would assume he was going for the Tailwind with Suicune there. And I don't have great answers to Tailwind, which is also problematic. Now, I wonder if he's going to go Ally Switch again. Or if he just attacks with Gardevoir. I'm also kind of locked into HPI, so I overextended on that prediction turn 1, though. There was no way I could have seen that Ally Switch coming out, so a very nice play on my opponent's end. I feel like he's not going to go for it this time around, but I'm just going to HP Ice, and do I want to Earthquake? Yeah, I'll Earthquake here. Oh, he actually switches out. Let's see if it's Landorus coming in. That would be fantastic. It's going to be Heatran, which is actually perfect. I get a knockout here, even if he's Air Balloon. He's not. Wow. So that works out perfectly. I mean, I got very fortunate that turn 1, and I still think this is in my opponent's favor. But we're probably going to see a Tailwind come out of Suicune, but Earthquake here is going to knock out Heatran, which was one of the bigger threats to my team, at least let Excadrill. So I get lots of free damage off, but I think we're going to see a Tailwind come up from Suicune here. If he doesn't have Tailwind, he's going to be in trouble, but yeah, it's going to be Tailwind. So, a very cool Ally Switch, and I do wish my opponent got the Tailwind off in the beginning, because I feel like he outplayed me that first turn completely. And, at least on my end, like, I think in VGC, it's really frustrating when you outplay your opponent and you get a bit unlucky, but that's Pokemon and RNG for ya. So, I do not get the Heatran immediately, which takes out a pretty big threat, because you imagine a Heatran would cause a lot of issues. I don't know if he knew I was Scarfed, because I'm kind of surprised. Actually, he probably knew I was Specs. No, not Specs, because I'm not Specs. But... yeah, I mean, that was kind of a risky switching, because I could have just went for the Thunderbolt onto Suicune and the Earthquake, and if I did go for that, he would have been completely done for. So I guess we'll see what he switches in now. I mean, he does get a free 3 turns of Tailwind now to take advantage of, and Suicune is a pretty good threat, especially since I am locked into HP Ice with Thundurus. So, these next few turns will be crucial for my opponent, especially as I try to stall out the Tailwind. Now, Scrafty is a really fantastic switch in, but the thing is, if he brings in Gardevoir here, he can just Hyper Voice away, which can knock out Scrafty. It's going to be that Gardevoir, so this is quite problematic for me, especially with that Focus Sash on Excadrill being able to get broken. He does trace Mold Breaker this time around, which is pretty funny. Let's see. So he's probably going to Scald Hyper Voice. Now I really wish I had Clefairy, I guess. Clefairy would have been a good Pokemon to have for redirection. Yeah, I really don't like this, because I don't really have a safe switch in, but I kind of also want to conserve Thundurus, because Scarf Thundurus does a lot of work. Now I'm wondering what his last one is, too. Well, Gardevoir was his best switch in here regardless. This is frustrating. Do I switch Thundurus out? No, I just get Hyper Voice then. I feel like the best play is to just HP Ice Gardevoir and protect this turn, because then the following turn I can get a free switch into Scrafty potentially. Though, I don't even think Hyper Voice can knock out Thundurus, I'll probably hang on with a little of HP. So, this is a scary... I guess, okay, the way I see it, I can stall out maybe 2 turns of Tailwind with Thundurus and Excadrill, because if he doesn't knock out Thundurus, then the following turn both Pokemon go down, then I get a free switch in. But he does go straight for the Hyper Voice here. Let's see how much damage it does. Yeah, it doesn't knock me out. Brings me down to 44 HP. I'm actually still faster than Suicune because of the Scarf. So that does minimal damage, but brings him under 50% at least. He does go for the Scald there onto Excadrill. Do I want to give up Salamence or Scrafty? Maybe it's worth giving up one of the two. Yeah, you know what? I think it might be worth sacrificing Scrafty here. I think Excadrill and Thundurus might be able to close out the game for me. Excadrill and Salamence, excuse me. So then what I could do is double protect the following turn, and then I can just Iron Head return, maybe pick up 2 knockouts. Though, given that this is a bulkier Mega Salamence without Double Edge, you know, we'll see. I really feel like my opponent deserves this game, though, and I feel a bit guilty if I do end up winning, but let's see how this plays out. Hyper Voice actually knocks out both. Yeah, no surprise there. But I just feel like Scrafty doesn't offer nearly as much offense as my Excadrill does. And I mean, I could have switched Thundurus out as well, I guess. That might have actually been a bit better to conserve Thunder. But the thing is, Excadrill, excuse me, has the Focus Sash, which is why I wanted to keep it around. So, let's see. So I'm going to bring in Excadrill and Salamence here, and a crazy cool play that my opponent could make here is if his Gardevoir has Trick Room, he goes for the Trick Room this turn. You know, Tailwind and Trick Room is definitely a viable strategy. Many players have used it in the past, and I feel like that would be a really cool move for my opponent to have. But I'm going to go for the safe Double Protect here. Now, there are also a lot of mind games because I don't know whether that Gardevoir is going to want to go for another Ally Switch the following turn, and I don't know if Earthquake can knock out the Gardevoir in this range. I mean, HPS did do a decent amount, but I can't really allow it to survive. So, I'm going to Mega Evolve into Salamence here, and just double protect to stall out this last turn of Tailwind. But a very cool Mega Gardevoir team. I think that Ally Switch completely caught me off guard right from the first turn, and him tracing Volt Absorb also gave me a lot of issues. It's why I didn't want to Thunderbolt with confidence there. He does just go for another Hyper Voice, so no Trick Room coming out this time. And the Scald into Excadrill, no surprise there. Tailwind Peters out. Great. Alright, we gotta make some big plays. This is what basically the game came down to. So I could just Iron Head Gardevoir and return onto the Suicune, but if he goes for the Ally Switch, then I'm absolutely done for. So I could Earthquake here to not care about the Ally Switch. Question is, who do I want to return? Suicune or Gardevoir? This is really tough. Do you go for Ally Switch here if you're my opponent? I feel like the answer is no. But I also don't know if Earthquake can knock him out. Okay, I feel like I should think this turn. Okay, if I return Suicune, I just knock it out. If he Ally Switches, I knock it out, but then Earthquake doesn't knock out Suicune. If I return Gardevoir, he might even protect and go for a Tailwind. So, you know, I'm just going to return into Suicune. Let's see if he goes for the Ally Switch. Oh, he switches out. Even better. Though I suspect Landorus T is going to be coming in here. Yeah. So, I don't think I made the worst prediction that first turn, but my opponent played a really good job banking off the... just the prediction that I wouldn't anticipate the Ally Switch, and now this is really bad because I'm probably not going to be able to knock him out with an EQ return combo here, especially if he's got Citrus Berry, which you would assume he does. And yeah, Earthquake does minimal damage here, and it looks like it's going to be a loss for me. A very well played and managed game by my opponent. I think right from the start he was one turn ahead of me. If I predicted, if he did switch in Landorus that first turn, would have been really good, but unfortunately not the case, and that was a perfect last Pokemon to have in the back. I had no real way to deal with Landorus other than Thundurus, which is why I was really hoping to catch it off guard. And I do feel like if my opponent didn't have Ally Switch on Gardevoir, he would have made that switch out into Landorus. But because he had Ally Switch and traced Volt Absorb, that was a perfect turn 1 for him, and there was little loss. I really feel like that turn 1 kind of just decided the game, and I'm trying to see what I could have done or what I could have led better to beat Gardevoir and Suicune, and quite honestly, I don't think there was any good lead for me there. I kind of just walked into that, and with the way things worked out, with the Ally Switch, with Volt Absorb, I really feel like my opponent had a great team matchup here, and he played excellently as well, so all credits to him. Now, there's little way I can really win this one. I would suspect we're gonna see a Rock Slide, maybe an Ice Beam going to Excadrill, or I mean Salamence. I guess I should Protect. I'll go for the Rock Slide and the Protect. Let's see what he goes for. I guess I could have also predicted Landorus and gone for the flinch by going for a Rock Slide Iron Head, but yeah, he's just gonna Rock Slide here. Let's see if he scalds Excadrill or Ice Beam Salamence. He's gonna go for the Ice Beam. Yep, into Salamence. So I get a Rock Slide off. I'm guessing he's Scarf Landorus too, so there's a slight chance I can come back here. But Rock Slide's doing so little damage, yeah, that's not gonna be enough. I guess I can go for the triple Protect. If I can get that, it gives me a slight chance, and you know, you shouldn't give up until the game's over, so that's what I'm gonna go for. Not expecting anything, but yeah, I get this one though. So if I crit Rock Slide, maybe. I'm assuming his Suicune is meant to outspeed Salamence's on their Tailwind. Like, you really should be EVing to outspeed that. So Rock Slide does minimal damage to Excadrill. He goes for another Ice Beam onto Salamence. Excadrill gets the Rock Slide off. Crit, maybe? No. And the reason why I'm Rock Sliding over Earthquaking here is because I need that damage onto Landorus as well. So I can actually win if I get the double Protect. Or triple Protect at this rate. Maybe I should just attack? No, Rock Slide would put me in KO range anyway from Ice Beam despite me being bulky. I'll go for the Earthquake here to do more damage to Suicune, maybe knock it out. And I'll try to Protect one last time with Salamence. Let's see if we can get it. That would be hype. Oh, it fails. Yeah, I would have felt pretty guilty for stealing a game away from my opponent though. So he's going to get the Rock Slide off. Does a sizable amount to Salamence. Suicune is going to go for the Ice Beam. Once again, that's going to target down the Salamence and pick up the KO. Salamence is going to go down, so if I don't flinch or I knock out Suicune, which can be interesting, because if I somehow outspeed his Mega Gardevoir, I can Iron Head, maybe flinch the Gardevoir and knock it out. But Earthquake actually doesn't even knock out Suicune there, which is fine actually. I guess that means I get a free Rock Slide off. But the thing is, Landorus is putting on more pressure. That Intimidate basically just sealed the deal up, and it's kind of a lost cause at this point. Though if I did get the triple Protect, I actually could have won that one, but RNG has been favorable enough on my side. And I feel like this is one of the games where, oh, he actually switches out Landorus. That's actually really smart. Yeah, okay, so that actually is 100% a game over then, because then you can just come in and go for the Earthquake for free. So I actually needed to really knock out Suicune. If I knocked out Suicune there, I actually had a chance of winning, just because he would have locked himself into Rock Slide, as I actually crit the Gardevoir to almost knock it out, which is kind of funny. But now you can just come back in with Landorus, so I had a slight chance to win there. Obviously that's what I was going to play for. It didn't work out, but that's fine. I feel like my opponent really deserved to win this one with that Mega Gardevoir. I mean, I think it pairs up really nicely with Tailwind, and then you combine the Ally Switch, what I definitely did not see coming, and, you know, it's just completely over. And I'm interested because I really think if my opponent didn't have Ally Switch, I had a slight chance of winning that one if I could have landed the HP Ice prediction on that first turn. It's kind of funny as he goes for the Superpower, which is going to be able to knock out Excadrill. Yeah, so actually I didn't really consider that. I totally forgot like Gardevoir was around under 50%, so I actually had a chance of beating the Gardevoir in the late game, though I presume he's running fast enough speed to outspeed Excadrill. All he needed is one more hit, and then maybe with the Intimidate, one Intimidate Iron Head wouldn't have even knocked it out. But a very interesting game for my opponent there. And just looking back, I don't think there was much I could have done better. I think it was one of the games where the matchup wasn't very good right from the start, and then the trace into Volt Absorb completely threw me off. Though, honestly, even if he didn't trace Volt Absorb, I might have still gone for the HP Ice play, since I was fully expecting Landorus to come in there, and it made a lot of sense in my head. And this is one of today's episode, I think, features in that Game 1, I made a big prediction, did pay off. Game 2 did not make, my prediction didn't pay off, and I completely lost because of it. And I got lucky in that first turn as well, but Mega Gardevoir kind of just overwhelmed this team, since he had so many threats to beat Heatran and Excadrill, and Scrafty, really, and Scrafty didn't do anything. So Tailwind kind of just overwhelmed me in the end, and I think if anything, Clefable or Clefairy was necessary in this match because I needed it to maybe paralyze a couple of threats here and there to allow me to at least get into the game, but one of the cases where Speed Control just overwhelmed me, and I think that speaks a lot to the Tailwind archetype with Mega Gardevoir. But gonna be a win and a loss in today's episode, but two great games for you guys once again. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Check out the Hydreigon analysis and Team Review Thursday if you've not already, and yeah, it's gonna be it for this one, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Alright, peace. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to check out Clash Tournaments, my sponsor on YouTube and Twitter. They offer some of the best Super Smash Bros. Content out there, and I'm super grateful for them. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitch as you see in the boxes below. See you guys soon!